What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Solemn podcast. We've had a little bit of a hiatus. This is kind of the theme of the show. If you have been listening for a while or not for a while, you will remember that we had about a year-long hiatus. So this was significantly less than that. So anyway, we're back and we have some updates. So let's start with the shoe here. For those of you listening, you won't be able to see it. For those watching on YouTube, this is the Altra Escalante Racer New York City edition. So this looks a lot different than some of the shoes you've seen me promote, like the Vivo Barefoot shoe or the Hitave water shoe. As you can see, if you can see, there's more cushioning than there would typically be found on a shoe on my feet. However, there are still some very important characteristics to this shoe, which I will now explain briefly. Number one, there's still a very wide toe box. As you can see, I realize I say that too much, or you can hear, Altra uses what they call the foot shape technology, which basically means their toe boxes are as wide as a shoe should have. So that's a very big characteristic that I consider essential for footwear. The other one, which is not true for all running shoes, is that most of their shoes have a zero drop from heel to toe, which means even though there is cushioning under the sole on the bottom of the shoe, there is no more cushioning under the heel than there is under the toe. So this allows the foot to lay flat as it should. Basically, this prevents the chronic shortening of your calf muscles and your hamstring muscles, which is usually what can lead to movement dysfunction or, hip dysfunction or back pain. That's a big contributor to back pain. So those two things, in conjunction with the fact that the shoe is pretty flexible, it's a little bit more rigid than like a Vivo Barefoot shoe or like a New Balance Minimus shoe, but there is some flexibility. So the reason I'm trying this shoe is, number one, I think Altra is a great company. I've been using their Superior 3.0 trail running shoe for the last few years for trail running and hiking and climbing and things like that. So I really like the brand. I really love their athletes, and I wanted to try a more road running specific shoe now that I am doing half marathons and eventually I'll be doing ultra marathons. And I thought, I am running in a way that is not natural. Not my form. I try to run with proper, natural, human-centric running form, but I am road running most of the time. I run around Portsmouth and Rye, New Hampshire, and I'm generally on roads. Occasionally I'm on trails, but I don't always have access to trails. So I thought, because of the fact that I'm doing something slightly less natural than my human predecessors would have been doing, running on trails, let me try a shoe with a little bit of like a technological intervention. So there's a little bit of cushioning. There's not much. But if you are someone who was a runner, you are a runner, you're trying to get back into running, I think Altra is a good company. And the Escalante here is a great shoe to get maybe back into running. Because if you are heel striking, which I firmly believe is the wrong way to run, you can kind of transition smoothly because there's some cushioning under the heel. And as you start to get closer to that midfoot striking, I don't think you'll be going through as much pain as you might be with something like a Vivo or a water shoe. Plus, it just looks really cool and it looks normal. Like if you're walking around town in these or you're in the grocery store or something, no one's going to be looking at your shoes if that's something that you care about, which clearly I don't, because I run around barefoot and wear very weird shoes. So Altra Escalante Racer, they make just an Escalante 2, which I think is the most recent non-racer edition, which is very similar. And you can usually find Altras in running stores, so that's a plus, so that you can try it on. Anyway, I've been using the shoe. I've probably run over like 30 miles in the shoe, and it feels really good. It feels really fast. So I'm actually running a 5K on Thanksgiving, which is 2 days from now. So I'll run that, and I'll give a more comprehensive review shortly. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've been using this thing that I'm standing on, which I'm now going to grab, which I will kind of show you. It's hard to see. So this thing is an earthing mat or a grounding mat. Basically, it looks like a yoga mat. I'm not sure what it's made of. It kind of feels like leather, But for the people on YouTube, it is plugged in. So it's connected by a rivet here. And then that wire plugs into the grounding plug of an outlet. And basically what that does is it connects the mat to the earth. And then when I stand on it, I am now connected to the earth. And I watched a pretty cool documentary recently. Before watching the documentary, I've been researching grounding and earthing, and it's something that I do in the warmer months. I try to go and walk around barefoot outside. But to put it very briefly, and like to the best of my knowledge, touching the earth with bare feet or bare hands or just your body just laying on the earth or something connected to the earth has a whole host of positive physiological effects. I think the general idea is that you can reduce chronic systemic inflammation going on internally by touching the earth, and that is literally like the extent of my knowledge. It makes sense, right? Animals run and lay and walk on the earth. Humans, being animals ourselves, should probably be doing the same thing, if not all the time, more often. So this is a nice way, especially living up here in New Hampshire in the winter when it was 10 degrees last week, where I can still be touching the earth in some way and potentially reaping the benefits of that. I know this might sound kind of woo-woo, and occasionally I do try to not sound too crazy about some of these things, but there's a lot of research. So on Instagram, if you go and look up the earthing profile or the earthing account, they have some peer-reviewed research that they link to. I could do more homework and link some peer-reviewed research, but I tend to just do what feels right, and this thing feels right. And so anyway, I took some time away from the earthing mat because I just was lazy and I just didn't prioritize it. And about a week ago, I started to feel pretty bad, just in like a weird way, in like a seasonal depressive disorder way. I was down, I was tired, my sleep wasn't great, my training wasn't great. And then I think it was Saturday or Sunday, a few days ago, I got back on the earthing mat. It warmed up a little bit outside, so I went outside and walked around. I've been sleeping on it, and I just feel way better, significantly better. So this is something that's definitely going to stay in the rotation for me, for my health routine, daily. I'm going to try to, I will get at least 5 to 10 minutes on it. And if I'm sleeping on it, then I'm getting 8 to 9 hours on it. So this one I got on Amazon. I think the brand is called Earth and Moon. And I think it was only like $30. But you can go to the Earthing Instagram account and they have some cool products that they list. And I think that's about it. Just 2 things for today. Touch the earth more. I noticed that when I don't, I definitely feel worse, which makes sense. But it was kind of easy to forget how much worse I felt until I took literally like 4 or 5 days not touching the earth. So touch the earth if you can. If you're somewhere warm, just go walk around on the grass. And for those looking for a more normal looking running shoe, still with the characteristics of a good shoe in general, check out Altra. They're an awesome brand. They're very cool just in general. In fact, I don't even know if they're participating in Black Friday because they want people to go and hike and run and be outside and be with their family. And that's something I can get behind. So check them out. That's all I got for today. Thank you for tuning in, however you're tuning in. And I will be uploading another one of these next week. We're back on track. Have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for anyone that's watching this. Peace out.